Esoteric Esa is an astrologist and psychic with bylines in Cosmopolitan, Pop Sugar, Hip Latina. She has also been seen in E! News and US Weekly and is now teaming up with Chispa, the #1 dating app for Latinos singles, that has received over 7 million downloads to date. Guys, you're busy, you're busy. And we are bringing her today to give us her 2023 love predictions and tell us a little bit about her newest project. Welcome, Esoteric Esa.
Hi, Eva. I'm so
Hi, honey.
excited. Let's
I
do this.
am
Let's have
too.
fun, right?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for being here and for sharing your gift with us today because it is a gift.
Absolutely, it
So
is.
thank
It is.
you.
But we can all tap into the gift. There you go.
Yes, I know
hmm
a little bit about that. So
That's right.
congratulations on all the work that you're doing. You have a podcast, you are, bringing your gift to the world and you have these collaborations. Now, I had a chance to review the Zodiac Help Guide, and I'm an Aries, and I have to tell you, wow, it was on point. It just gave me chills. Now, astrology is still a mystery to some. I love it. I think it's interesting. I think there is so much truth to, just the science altogether. So, can
Mhm,
you just briefly share with us how you began this journey to astrology?
mhm.
And for those that are not familiar with astrology, I can't imagine, guys. Come on now, that are not familiar with it, can you just give us like a little taste of what this world is about?
Yeah, absolutely. So I love my Aries sisters and brothers. I have a Libra moon, so I get along really well with Aries placements. We complement each other. And it's a good year, as you mentioned, for Aries in love, especially in love. Aries people are going to really meet their soulmates this year. Astrology, let's just talk about it really quickly. It's definitely energy. It is a language, it's an art, it's a science. Absolutely. Your astrology allows you to understand the energy that's sitting in your aura. And we love to learn about ourselves, right? Who doesn't love to learn what you're great at, what you're fantastic at? So these blog posts, these predictions that we wrote are basically horoscopes, right? On find through chispa.com. And I want you to go read them so you can better understand yourself, because astrology is all about self-awareness, self-examination, and we got to know ourselves best. What makes us tick? What turns us on? So that way we know when we're swiping on Chispa, and we know that, we are very sexual beings. So, oh, I'm swiping, I see someone with a Scorpio ugly primo sticker on their profile. Let me connect with them. Let me find out, right? With the Scorpio, especially Aries. Oh, Aries are great
Fire,
lovers.
Scorpion, Aries.
Scorpio and
Fire, my
Aries.
ex-husband, my ex-husband.
You see, there is passion there, right? So yeah, does that kind of, bring it down in a little nutshell a bit?
Absolutely. Now, I want to get into a little bit about connection. There's this huge community looking for different ways to connect. And I think, after a pandemic, we're just yearning more for that connection. And
Mm-hmm.
we're all looking for that special someone, but finding that right fit, and I don't like using perfect someone, just
Mm-hmm.
finding that right fit is never easy. So, what
Mm-hmm.
role do you think our zodiac signs play in our lives and the romantic partners that we choose? What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is such a beautiful question. I love that because, we want our solteros to find love on Chispa this year. And that was the whole point of these, horoscopes. So you can understand, let me read about a Capricorn, my ex was a Capricorn. Why didn't it work out? And then you read their characteristics, and not to be judgmental, but you're like, oh, that makes sense. That's why I didn't get along with the Capricorn. Or I always find Geminis very intriguing. Let me go read about the Geminis. Oh, it's because I'm a sapiosexual. I love talking. And so Geminis can stimulate me in that sense. So that's how these blog posts are going to help you understand really how to make your needs met, and how to collaborate better while we're dating online, which can be overwhelming. So the blog post can help you make that a little bit less anxious.
For sure, for sure. And how, in your opinion, can we use this guide best to find that new love?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can give me a guide and I could read it through, but that doesn't necessarily mean I will put into practice what the goal is for this guide.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So how can we use it correctly?
Yeah. So first and foremost, for ourselves first, right? If we're not really too familiar with our own zodiac sign, or we just want to learn more about what makes us amazing, right? And then let's say, you've matched with someone on Chispa, they just so happen to have their zodiac ugly primo sticker on there, and you're like, okay, great. This gives you like a little bit of a heads up, right? Like, okay, great. They have their Libra sticker on. So let me go to the blog post and read all about Libra. Not so much so we can manipulate ourselves to be liked. That's totally not the point. It's so that way you can have a heads up about who you're going into this dating experience with. So you understand how to create a comfortable environment for them as well, along with yourself. So you have an idea of like, okay, they're sociable. I'm not too sociable. So yeah, they're cute, but maybe I shouldn't go on this date because it's out of my element, right? So that's how you can use this to also not really, respectfully speaking, waste your time or someone else's time. Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like that. Now, for those that don't know, I want to talk a little bit about this collaboration that you have with Chispa. You've partnered with this number one dating app for us Latino singles to
Mm-hmm.
bring your 2023
Mm-hmm.
love predictions. So, can
Mm-hmm.
you tell us a little bit about that project and how singles in our
Yeah.
community can take advantage of that?
I was so excited when Chispa connected with me because a few reasons. It merges obviously what I love, but I think for all of us, whether we're familiar with astrology or not, a lot of us as millennials grew up with our Latinx parents or abuelas or tios watching Walter Mercado, right? The OG, the GOAT of astrology, right? Of astrologia, right? So I was like, oh my God, it's already part of our culture. We love astrology. So this was a perfect collaboration, and I do a lot of readings on love compatibility, and I'm a huge advocate on understanding your astrology and the compatibility astrology of people that you love and you interact with. So I thought this was such a perfect blend, and Chispa has been nothing but amazing. And one of the best parts about this partnership, for me personally speaking, is they really honored my authenticity. Sometimes you go into these big brand collaborations and it's all about the client and not necessarily about both of your needs being met. And Chispa has been just so open to my work, right? And I'm trying to understand my work and just create a really safe environment to be my creative self with them. So I think this collaboration, also tying in ugly primo sticker, like, oh my God, it was beautiful. When I saw his stickers, I was like, yes, because they were perfect for every sign. I love how he tied in little cultural things, like Capricorn had the elote, right? And then we had the wrestlers, and so like he tied in different cultural norms and all the stickers. So I could talk about this collaboration all day, every day, but I want you guys to go on the app and see it firsthand for yourselves if you're not signed up yet. And if you have an account and you haven't been on in a minute, it's time to reactivate it because they've upgraded some things with these stickers and you're going to have fun.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. Now, I can't let you go without a couple more questions. And
Mm-hmm.
one of them is I want to give everyone a little taste of your magic. So, in your opinion,
Mm-hmm.
what would you say are the two most compatible and the
Ooh,
two least compatible
ooh,
signs?
ooh.
And this is, of course, this is something that's general. People, please do not make it, law or
Literal. Yeah.
um but I
Right.
want your two best and your two least,
Yeah.
that sort of repel.
Yeah, this is a fun question. I get asked this all the time. And I love that we're asking this. There's a lot of nuances to astrology, right? Because when it comes to love, particularly, we want to look at the moon and the Venus signs for compatibility, but at the very least, we want to know your zodiac sign, your sun sign, and someone else's, right? Because right off the bat, when you go on a first date, you're not going to be asking somebody for their birth chart, right? What's your birth time, right? And be like, this es un bruja, like, never mind, like, right? Like, this is freaking me out. So we want to ease into it.
No callback.
Right? No callback. Too much, too soon. So what I would recommend for people is try your own elements. So in astrology, zodiac signs are categorized by elements, which is earth, air, water, and fire. So like Yvette's an Aries, so interacting with other fire signs like Aries, Leo, and Sag would be a good way to approach astrology with your dating. Now, in terms of literal signs that maybe don't do well together, here we go. And don't hate me.
Never.
Here we go. It's all love. I love all zodiac signs, everybody. But Leo and Cancer, it's literally fire and water. We have Cancer, who's so empathetic, right? Who's so giving. And I love my Leos, but Leos are very self-focused. I don't want to say self-centered, right? If we're not aware, we're self-centered, right? But Leos are very me. I command presence. I demand the presence, right? So someone like a Cancer would feel energetically drained by a Leo who generates a lot of energy and a lot of attention, right? You see that?
I love
that makes sense, right?
So wait, does that mean that let's say like a water sign, like a Pisces, would put out Aries's fire?
Oof, no. Aries would be bored with a Pisces. So bored. I love my Pisces, but they are introverts. They really are more than Cancer people. Pisces people are homebodies. And we know you, Aries, y'all love to hike, explore, you're freaking paragliding. Yeah, you're like, first date, let's go climb Mount Everest. You're so adventurous and spicy like that. So in terms of signs that mesh really, really well, Virgos and Sagittarius, you wouldn't think that. Right? But Virgos and Sagittarius are very deep thinkers. They're both very philosophical, they're intelligent, they're very smart. And it's interesting because Virgo's an earth and Sag is a fire. And so they also ground each other as well. So if you're a Sag, maybe consider a Virgo, vice versa. If you're a Virgo, maybe consider a Sagittarius person. I guarantee you, you'll have a lot of things to talk about and you'll kick it off really well.
I have learned quite a bit.
It won't be awkward silence in that date. They're going to be laughing and giggling, and the table next to them and be like, honey, why aren't we like that anymore?
I love that. Thank you for sharing. I actually learned quite a bit today. Yes. So I like to end our interviews with some sort of quote, mantra, tip, advice. Now, my question is actually going to be about self-love. So yes. I believe that finding love starts within.
Absolutely.
And, for everyone, the experience is different, but I think it's really hard to love someone else if you don't love yourself. At least love someone wholly and completely if you aren't whole yourself. So I wanted to know, how can your guide help someone find self-love even before they get to that romantic love with someone else? How can your guide help with that? And I know it can.
Absolutely. And thank you for seeing it from that perspective, because it's not only just like toxic positivity and optimism. There are realities that like we all have maybe our toxic traits, maybe our shadow traits, our traits that we know like maybe we could work on a little bit better. And that's one thing I really appreciated with this project, is when I wrote the horoscopes and the predictions, I also wanted to make sure we seasoned in very lightly, very delicately every zodiac sign's maybe what we could perceive as a flaw. But I like to say it's not necessarily a flaw, it's an opportunity, right? Weaknesses are opportunities, right? So what we view as flaws and weaknesses within ourselves are opportunities to grow and be better. And so if, let's say some of us really, I used to really lack self-awareness. And then it wasn't until I had my enlightenment and I was like, oh my God, wow, I could be a nicer person, right? And so sometimes we need that moment to realize, oh yeah, I could be a little bit better in this aspect. I could reach out a little bit more. I could be a little more empathetic. I could have better communication. So these blog posts can help you with that. The last thing I want to say is, be yourself, be authentic. I know sometimes when we really like someone, we want to shape shift and mold ourselves into the version we think they want us to be, but you're only doing yourself a disservice. In the long run, it's not going to create a healthy relationship. And if you have to convince someone else to see your worth, then you're dimming your light and you're doing yourself a
Ooh.
disservice. Okay.
Oh,
So don't stick
I
around.
got,
I
I
always
got
say,
chills. I got
I
chills.
always say I don't stay where I'm not wanted. That's it.
I love that. I
You know?
love that. And that is
Yeah.
the perfect way to end this episode. Esoteric Esa.
Uh-huh.
Thank you so, so much for sharing yourself today, your gift. I appreciate you. We appreciate you. Can you tell our audience how to find out more about you? And I'm sure they'll be running to find you now.
Yeah. So please go to findthrough.chispa.com to read all these horoscopes. And you can even read them, yes, from a love perspective, but read about your parents and read about your friends and your family, because you can learn more how to just build a better interpersonal relationship in general by this information. And then you can always find me on Instagram at Esoteric, ESOTERIC _ESA. And I'm on Twitter as well, which is JGA Alejandres. That's my government name, as we laughed about earlier. So if nothing more, we send you so much love and so much encouragement. And this year is going to be a much lighter year for all of us collectively. We're all going to feel much more excited and playful. So that's what's a really good year to date. The energy support it.
I love
Mm-hmm.
you. I appreciate you.
Oh, I love you
Thank you so
too.
much. And thank you, listeners, for listening to this very magical episode of
Yeah.
the AW Confidential Podcast. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.